Welcome to William Steele, True Crime, and Steele Spotlight Television. We have our special guest host, retired ATF agent Ignacio Esteban. Welcome,
Bill,
Ignacio. How you doing?
man, what's going on, brother? Like I said, another week, another great show. Like
A lot,
always,
a lot.
lots to talk about. Lots and lots
So
of good stuff.
we're going to get into a lot of topics here, but I want to roll into one because, with my background, having been incarcerated for nonviolent offenses, and I was a law clerk, I have a good grasp on the law and things that do with police, and sometimes a lot of their actions are called into question. So what I want to start off with, and we've agreed, is to go into the case of DaChe'na
Definitely.
DaChe'na Warren Hill. So she was a young lady here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, who allegedly was being the victim of domestic violence, and the
Mm.
police showed up on the scene after having some calls that kind of created a situation where it was said that a car was crashing into buildings and maybe almost ran somebody over. So a police officer responds, and his name is publicized, so I'll say his name. A guy named Mark Guzman. He's
Good
had
one.
some minor disciplinary things, but mostly accident related. He shows up and ends up killing her. So since November, they withheld the video. The prosecutor's office. We were in touch with everybody trying to get these videos released for the public
Mhm.
and for the family, and they just released them yesterday and a press release that they're going to decline charges against the officer. Now, close inspection on a gigantic screen, I don't know. We're going to go over the blow by
The
blow
video.
and see.
Yeah.
But our prayers go out to her. Rest in peace, and her family condolences. And the full disclosure, we are friends with her grandmother, so
Oh, okay.
we were going to take a very sensitive approach to this case because we know the people involved, and we also support the police, as you know.
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing, and we're gonna tell a story. We're gonna put some facts up on the screen, and we're gonna ask for comments. We would like you to leave some comments. If you have additional information about this case, please submit it to law enforcement first. If you want to do it privately through me, my information is on the screen.
Yeah.
And if you want to come on and be interviewed about this case, you're more than welcome to reach out. So, Ignacio, I've sent you information about DaChe'na. She was a teacher. Was it a daycare, a preschool teacher? So she
Mm.
was a preschool teacher around here, very well respected, college grad, and living her life. And evidently, she was in a bad relationship, according to reporting. And it's just a real tragedy.
It is a tragedy and end that way. You hate to see an innocent life get killed that way, but
Right.
unfortunately, those sometimes bad relationships they end up that way, and it's a thankless job, Bill, to be in policing. Sometimes you got a split second to make a decision, life and death,
Right.
and it happens all the time. It's a tough job, not for everybody to do. I've been in those situations. It's not easy, and you have to be on your toes. And if you don't do anything, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you don't do anything, if this person would have been, let's say, the perp in there and run some more people, they say you should have shot the guy. But you don't know who's got things happening so quickly. You
Right.
got to act quickly.
So let me give a little more background on you. So you've been in federal law enforcement, retired for close to 30 years. You've
Yeah,
written close
26
to
years.
80.
Yeah.
Ignacio has written close to 80 books. He's my co-host, and because of my background as a making a lot of mistakes as basically a career criminal, unfortunately, I've served a lot of time in prison. I was a law clerk, so I do have a good grasp of laws and when police abuse their powers and when they're falsely accused. I've seen plenty of those, come out.
Yeah.
But so Ignacio's wrote this book is his main autobiography, and I would encourage everybody to check this one out. Links in the description. ATF Undercover by Ignacio Esteban.
It's also on Audible, very, very popular on Audible, and also the most dangerous crime syndicates of our time. That's over 7 hour listen. Both
Yep.
of them very popular, and I'm getting a third one coming out about tyrants and killers, also going to be over 7 hours. So Audible's doing really good. So if you're not a big reader, Audible, but if you're an Amazon Kindle subscriber, all my books are free for KU subscribers. Kindle Unlimited subscribers get all my books for free.
So that being said, so we are dealing with a case out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, Allen County Sheriff's Office, and they put out some press releases about the case, which I'll pop on the screen here. My readers can slow that down, read it,
Yeah.
blow it up, whatever they want to do. Then we have the disciplinary history for Officer Guzman. This is public record. We're not getting anything that's not publicly available. And it just appears to be traffic related, like accidents, that he's had some accidents and he
Yeah.
was disciplined for those. Um, nothing major. I don't know that if what that make your own conclusions about that. And here's pictures of DaChe'na. So this is when I think that's the graduation photograph. And then this one here, that may be the graduation one.
Okay.
So this is the family members have put these up all over town here. Now check out the website, show some support and love to the family. I don't know if that they're going to bring in other agencies like FBI or state police to look into this again, like give it a second look over. But the prosecutor did give a press conference, I believe it was yesterday, saying that they've declined prosecution. Now, I'm not going to show the video here because it's very, very graphic, but I will put a link to it, which shows the incident as it played out. Now, watching it on the big screen, it seems like she was driving between a building and a car when the police officer showed up.
Right.
His chest camera, he jumps out. He's calling it in that she's, seems like she's about to hit somebody. The guy jumps out of the way of the vehicle. When she's past the vehicle, he opens fire. Now, I know they can claim she's still a threat to public safety. Now, you as former law enforcement, can you break it down for my audience why the police would try to justify this and what would have not been justified? Because I'm not an expert in that, but we want some more knowledge.
Use of force policy, obviously, you have to protect you're in imminent danger yourself or a third party, right? And the third party will be the public. He gets a 911 call. He's responding. There's a disturbance. A vehicle's being rammed at the residence. He responds pretty quickly, and you can hear him talking over the radio that he uses a 10 code, that he sees something going on, and all of a sudden he's responding when he sees the vehicle coming towards him. He goes away, but he said you can hear him on the radio when he talks to the individual that, hey, this one's going to try and run somebody over. He opens fire, shots fired, and he eventually kills the female in the car. So obviously his mindset is, what did you know then? What was your perception? And what did you fear was going to happen? So he probably felt that it's going to happen, that the public will be in danger with this reckless driving. If this person was trying to kill somebody there, he responded. And unfortunately, it was a tragic ending because she was the victim, it appears, of domestic violence.
Yeah. So I put this on a gigantic screen TV, even again this morning, and looked at it frame by frame. And it seems like somebody is jumping in front of the vehicle, telling her to stop. It looks like, and this is what I'm hearing. Now there's a significant sun flare. The sun is right into the lens of the camera. So that's distorting what you can really see. And then as that guy jumps out of the way and she pulls past him, and he's about right here, and he's about right here, and officers where I am, he raises his arm, and you can't see much more because of his arm in the way of the body cam, and you hear him open fire after she's already passed this guy. So my knowledge of the law, limited knowledge, would be that yes, a car is a deadly weapon. It can be designated a deadly weapon, and she's already done significant damage. If that was her behind the wheel that hit the car and the fence, the house and the fence and the garage. And so therefore, I guess the argument is she still, even though that guy was in the clear, she posed a significant threat.
We don't know her mindset. We don't know what's going on, right? You don't know what else could happen there.
They could have just been in fear of what was going on with this guy, because even one of the callers, her roommate, was the most accurate caller. And she was mad at her, of course, for hitting the building. I guess she said the house belonged to her father, but she was saying that she's afraid he's gonna beat her, So she's scared of him.
It's a tragic situation.
Yes. So she was giving accurate reporting about why, but I don't think that was transmitted from 911 operator to the guy that was responding, that it might be an escalating domestic violence and not necessarily somebody just being, trying to hurt the community or something.
Right.
So,
and that's important to know that. What did you know at the time? Right.
That's the standard, basically.
What you knew, of course, because you can't be held liable information to come out later, right? What did you know at the time? Hey, this car is causing damage to this residence, right? That's what he was responding to, right? So
One of
that's
the
what he was
concerns a lot of people have, Ignacio, and we'll look into this because again, we do support the police, but we also support this family. There's a horrible loss here,
Yeah, it
and
stinks.
they've had another recent loss in the family, like within the
Hmm.
last few days, like literally, if I'm not mistaken, DaChe'na's brother as well. So,
I'm sorry to hear that. My condolences, obviously.
have condolences to Mary and the rest of the relatives that we met some of them. So we
Absolutely.
actually attended a little rally at the courthouse in support of them and interviewed some people, and they were on the fence about allowing that to go public at the time. But you're more than welcome to come on the show, and if you want to, you want to speak more about the case or what happened. My concern is this now, and several people, even Mary here, brought it up. Where is the dash cam video? And then we were told that the people across the street were on vacation or something, and they have surveillance cameras that captured the whole thing, and that the police got to them first and have that footage and won't release it.
Mhm.
That's alleged. I don't know if that's accurate
Sure.
reporting. That's coming from the family. That there is neighbor video that shows more. There is, I think, dash cam video that hasn't been
Okay.
released. But
So,
we're wondering why release the body cam. So from his vantage point, that had the sun flare right in it. It was so hard to see because the sun was right there in the thing.
yeah,
But
you want transparency in any investigation. You want transparency. You want to see all the videos, and to give the family some closure. That's for sure.
yeah,
But it's not easy. I want people to understand, and being in law enforcement and seeing a lot of these shootings and knowing people who are involved in these shootings, they happen very quickly in a moment's notice. And a lot of times you don't have all the facts, and you have to protect yourself and protect the third party. That's the most important thing. And when you see a reckless vehicle, which is itself a weapon and can be used that way, already almost in his mind, what he saw was trying to run somebody over, possibly could run somebody else over. You don't know the circumstances. You have to act.
like you said earlier, what if he didn't act and it was a whole different scenario going on
Yeah,
than what
yeah,
actually seemed to be this, and it was an out of control, let's say, drunken guy or terrorist or somebody. We're not
yeah.
saying terrorism, but if that person did go on and kill somebody else down the road, then the officer is going to be held accountable. Why didn't you act when you had the
Why didn't you
chance?
move? Yeah, like I said, damned if you are, damned if you don't.
Yeah, it's a very difficult for everybody. But
Yes,
again, anybody else wants to come on the show from the sheriff's office, prosecutor's office, victims,
for
family
sure.
members, we're welcome to have a discussion here about it on my show. We talk about crime prevention and we talk about healing in this community and elsewhere where this is going on. Sometimes things are not as they appear. Anyway, that being said, we do offer our prayers and condolences for the family of
Definitely
DaChe'na.
condolences. Absolutely.
Thank you for discussing that.
Okay.
Now, Ignacio, we're going to roll into these other stories. What is going on in this crazy world that's unraveling with these Dems in power?
Yeah, lot of things to talk about here. I want to first hit the one about the Supreme Court had the hearings yesterday about bump stocks, and a lot of people knew they were legal before, and then became ATF under the Trump administration was asked to look at them and reclassify them to make them illegal under machine gun or machine gun parts. And this all happened because of an individual, the worst mass shooter in U.S. history, named Stephen Paddock, that happened in Las Vegas, October 1st, 2017. Over 60 dead, over I think 600 injured. Horrific. He spent months plotting this. He originally, I think, he wanted to do it in Chicago and other locations, and he set it all up in Las Vegas at this concert. It was a
Right.
country music concert right out there. And he sets up. He's a high roller. I want people to understand this guy is not a typical mass shooter. You think sometimes he comes from. Possible motive, it's unclear still after all these years. It could be involved mental health issues, possible depression. He had financial debts. He had a gambling addiction. He had some alcohol, heavy drinker. There's a lot of issues infused in here. What was going on that could have led him, that triggered him. Obviously, his background before, he was a postal worker. He worked for the IRS, Bill, and he worked for other, and then he became really successful in real estate also, buying properties and stuff. But this is something I think people need to understand. You're not really safe in these hotels because he spent 4 days. He lived in Mesquite, Nevada, which is not too far from Las Vegas. And he spent 4 days coming back, bringing these bags full of weapons. He ends up having about over 20 rifles inside there set up and he puts a lot of them with a bump stock. So what's a bump stock on the butt of the rifle? It makes it shoot faster than I can pull a trigger. I pull this quickly.
So what does it? What does it
like
do?
that.
It telegraphs the recoil to pull the trigger faster
Because
than you
it bumps it faster, boom, 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 faster than you could ever do. It's almost fully automatic, but it's not, because it's still one trigger pull, but it's so fast, that trigger pull, that a machine gun is you pull it one time, you can empty the magazine or clip like that, right? This thing is being pumped like this, boom, 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 faster than you could ever do it. And he had them set up on all his AR-15s, right? So he had like 14 of them set up that way. And according to the videos and according to reports, they would heat up. So he had the window shattered, and he would open fire on the crowd, right? He would take turns using different ones. One would heat up, it'll be locked, jammed up, so go another one. So he was prepared for all that. He would even try and hit far range
How many rounds?
tank.
How many rounds would you have to put through an AR-15 before you better give it a break?
He'll probably put a few clips in there, and then he said, "You know what? Let me go to different one." So that's
Wow,
it would heat up.
Would it damage the barrel or prevent it from firing?
It could, yeah, it could. So
Wow.
that's why they give it a break. Heats up very much. Give it another one. I mean, he was just pumping them in there. I think he fired over 1,000 rounds, Bill, like 15 minutes. 1,000 rounds in 15 minutes. So because of all this, and when the police finally SWAT team came up to address him, he also had an outside camera outside his door, so he could see when security was trying to come in, and he opens fire on the security guy through the door. So he's opening fire through security. He has his camera set up. It's amazing. At 2 suites set up there as a sniper's nest, right? Opening up on these poor people and killing over 60. It could have been a lot worse, because he was trying to also shoot at a fuel tank that's near the airport. If he would hit that well and blown up, I think the numbers would have been a lot worse. A lot worse.
So this guy, I remember this. He was firing
Steve
down.
Paddock. He
I
commits
forgot the name
suicide.
of the artist. Whose concert was it again?
He has a 38. He has a 38, and just before the police come in, he puts it down his mouth and shoots himself.
So they were going to storm it anyway, or he ran out of ammunition?
No, he had plenty of ammo. He had plenty of ammo. They were coming in, and he decides to kill himself. He has mental health issues, but his picture of him committing suicide is out there. It's leaked out there also. So if you want to see that picture of him, how he looks when he commits suicide, you can see that picture also out there.
He filmed himself?
No, it's the police cam. They have their video. It got leaked out there.
Oh, so he commits suicide as they're entering the room?
Yes.
What the hell? And this still, I know you wrote a book about this.
Yeah. The worst mass shooters in U.S. history.
What was the name of the artist doing the concert at the time?
I don't remember.
It was Jason Aldean, maybe, or something like that.
Maybe. Yeah, it's country music.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. And this guy is firing, I think, from the 8th or 10th floor, some ridiculous height.
It's called the Harvest Festival. It was called the Harvest Festival concert, right? I think Route 91, and they had a big thing. It's at Mandalay Bay, a very nice resort right there. 32nd floor, 33rd. It's in my book what floor he was in there. And to do that, it took a lot of planning. He had a lot of money. The weaponry he had was in probably over $10,000, $20,000 in weapons, right? He had over $2 million, they said. He was very successful in real estate. Shocking that, he was also upset.
Didn't he have a wife from the Philippines who fled?
Yeah.
Back to the Philippines afterwards?
He sent her back before all this and sent her $100,000 and say, hey, buy yourself a house over there before all this happened.
Wow.
Right?
She had no pre-knowledge of anything. And was he on meds or depressed? What the hell was wrong with this guy?
Yeah, there's a lot of issues there. I mean, no clear motive. FBI report, local authorities. It's nothing clear. It could be mental health. It could be anger issues. It could be a combination of both. He did have a lawsuit against one of the casinos where he said he had an accident. He felt he didn't being settled right. He felt like he wasn't being treated right. But he also liked to do that gambling, video gambling online stuff thing, which is kind of like weird stuff, which I don't know. He had a lot of strange things. But what my point was, he brought those bags and he had the hotel staff help him, right? Ring it up. There's no security. There's no x-rays. So when you're staying at a lot of these hotels, you don't know what people are bringing inside. They have their bags, but you don't know what kind of weaponry they're in. That's something to think about in the back of your head with the terrorists and other groups. That could be something big to watch out for in the future, Bill. This could be like this guy did say, oh, that's not a bad idea. So
it's
be
amazing.
careful of that.
We have to lock down a free society so much because we have such irresponsible vetting of people coming in, flooding in through the border.
Horrible.
I mean, unbelievable. I mean, so many even Venezuelan gangs. I didn't know there was such a thing as gigantic Venezuelan
Yeah,
gangs.
there's gangs all over South America, Latin America, for
But
sure.
what's prominent in Venezuela that they're talking about killed a nursing student? And they
Yeah,
had him in custody several times, and the Democrats keep releasing him. Now he murdered a college student.
that's awful, awful.
There's a case going around here that the police are basically trying to suppress, allegedly, where there's a guy going around apartment complexes here, and he's finding vulnerable women, and he's pulling a knife on them. He's
Mm.
using a Google app to tell them, gets them at knife point in the car, rapes them in the car, robs them, and then he's talking to them through an app, a translation app. So it's one of these illegal guys, and he's been targeting apartment complexes all over Fort Wayne.
That's horrible.
There was
That's awful.
there was
That's
an
awful.
attack. There was an attack at a place called Canterbury Green. There might have been other unreported attacks as well, but they're
Gotcha.
suppressing the story for some reason here. We don't know why.
But real quick, with that point I had about the bump stocks, to go back full circle. So this guy, Steve Paddock, used the bump stocks, right, with his killings, so that way his automatic weapons will fire fully automatic, and it'll be like you can hear the video how it's coming out there, and people are panicking. So that was one thing that came out where Trump administration wanted to do something proactive,
Right.
and they end up having ATF reclassify it as a machine gun and making it illegal. Now, it was legal for many years before that. I knew people had to, and if you had it, you had to have it turn in or destroy it yourself. Now, as a gun enthusiast myself, right, especially someone who's been in law enforcement for many years, I think that's wrong, right? Because this is one guy who's misusing it. Why punish everybody else for somebody who misused it for the wrong things? So I wasn't for that. Just like the pistol brace bill, where they had the Biden administration wanted to make it illegal, because some people were misusing it as a short barrel rifle. They would add it, instead of shooting it like this, they would put it on their shoulder. So, and then of course the court's appeal said no, that was wrong to have it reclassified. I think at the end, if you want to make it illegal, you have to have laws passed specifically addressing the pistol brace and the bump stock, and not having ATF go in there. And this is my former agency, go in there and pretty much weaponizing an agency to do this reclassification, making something that was legal, making it illegal. That's a waste of money, waste of funds that you paid for, $300 for that, $400. Now it's illegal. You said I could have it. Now you said I can't have it. That's wrong. And I think
but even if that's the case, aren't they grandfathered in?
No, those were not. You have to destroy them.
So now, all these people, if they destroyed them, they have to be reimbursed by somebody.
It's ridiculous. It was ridiculous. The whole thing right there was absolutely ridiculous. So I think those are the things we'll have to look into. But people should have. It's like I said. A lot of times politicians, right? They want to have a knee-jerk reaction, and they don't think things out. There's a demand, and I say it was legal. Why are you now making it illegal? So that was a big problem. The Supreme Court's going to rule on this. I think the Supreme Court at the end will probably say that it was wrong for ATF to reclassify it, and if Congress wants to make it illegal, they have to pass a law. Good luck with that, because a lot of people who are pro-guns, pro-NRA, or pro-rights are not going to support that. Okay.
Now, we are going to roll into the stories ever unfolding legal drama considering the weaponization of the justice system against political adversaries. As you know, our other co-host, Frank Lordy, had that happen to him when he was a commissioner, and he was recently exonerated. Now Trump's having it happen to him all over the place, and the head prosecutor in Atlanta, Fani Willis, is in a world of crap.
And Nathan Wade, the special counsel she brought in.
What happened, Ignacio? Break it down.
Both of them again. Now we have we have her giving sworn affidavits, right? That she said they didn't have this affair or they didn't have this relationship until after she brought him in. Well, now it shows, based on Wade's own personal firm practice and his defense team, that he was possibly having a relationship way before. The phone records show that, right? Everything else is showing that. They had text messages, and they're lying. I mean, they prosecute people for lying, right? For lying under oath. They prosecute people for giving false affidavits. They have done the same themselves. They have been compromised. I think they're both going to be removed from the case. She's going to be disbarred. She will not be district attorney much longer. And I won't be surprised you see criminal charges against them, because now I'm also hearing that there's issues with campaign funds that she's had that's also possibly misused. So not only she paid him $650,000, right? Special counsel with a guy who doesn't have racketeering specialty in racketeering cases, but has a specialty in divorce cases and maybe DUI, stuff like that. She brings him in as a favor, and then they take these exotic trips to the Caribbean, to Napa, to other places around the United States on that dime. That's just wrong. That's wrong. People are going to call it for what it is. It is wrong. I always surprised the case.
Yeah. She gives her boyfriend what, a $600,000 to prosecute something he has no experience in. The most powerful man on planet Earth who just happens to be a billionaire.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, you think you're going to bring in, the scrutiny is going to be scrutiny is unbelievable. You're going to go after and do this kind of case. You got to have the A team. You got to get ready, and you can't have a conflict like this, because that's a bonehead idea.
I'm good friends, as you know, with one of Trump's attorneys, Peter Tickton, and so he's got an army of attorneys, an army of PIs, plus there's plenty of Republicans who love him that would volunteer PI or other services. So if you go after him, your life will be turned upside down. You better be squeaky clean if you try to go after Trump, or at least if you're dirty, put that up front and get it out of the way.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable that they would do that. And she's a public official, right?
That shows you their level of incompetence, these Democrats, and excluding
arrogance, or they think they're that smart, they can outsmart everybody. No, you're not. Everybody's a term like everybody's on scholarship, right? Everybody is out here. Everybody has lived a good life, has experience. Maybe you're born at night, but you weren't born last night, right? You're going to figure things out. What's this person about? And of course, now they have people in her office testifying against her, right? Whistleblowers coming out that they knew about this, and there's other issues going on, misuse of other funds, not just federal funds, state and local funds. So this is going to be, and now the Senate in Georgia is investigating all this also. More down to come. You know who's going to end up being locked up in this case?
The prosecutor.
Those two are. Nathan Wade and her for lying.
Willis is going. It's funny. Her father testified. He came across as a very dignified, articulate guy, only to find out he's got a history of a Black Panther back in the day, which they may have had the best of intentions. Like, they got a bad rep on a lot of things they did.
They became a terrorist organization. Yeah. Domestic terrorism.
So he was a Black Panther. He dated Angela Davis. And this is Fanny. So she's all about, they'll make things right at any cost. And I don't care if I break the law. Don't look at me. It's you. It's a racial thing.
I don't care what you did. I can do whatever I can. I can do whatever I can.
They paint that as a racist thing when it's not. And that's the first thing the father raised to the judge. Now, Your Honor, I got to say this, but I'm not a racist man. I'm not making a racist statement. But Black people, we keep cash in the house. But it's just something Black folk do. And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, why would you even say that? You're having cash on a very public thing, and that your daughter, a woman evidently living alone, has significant cash in her house.
Yeah, it sounds like, hey, please, home invaders, come knock on the house. If you're a home invader, if you like armed robberies, burglaries, come on in. Oh my gosh, it's just.
You've worked home invasion cases. You know that people advertising what they're doing on social media makes them targets.
It's a circus, Bill.
That's what happened to Kim Kardashian. She was telling people where she was. She was flaunting a gigantic diamond and all this engagement ring, and people knew where to target her. It's you put that stuff out there, and that was a court proceeding that was worldwide, went out worldwide live.
She's and she is a district attorney. It's pretty scary. It's sad. Hopefully, not much longer.
They're coming up with years worth of tracking on the phones. The tracking has them at the same location on numerous occasions.
Oh, yeah.
I think at a cabin, apartments, this and that. And the guy testified under oath with a straight face that sometimes he brings her paperwork over her residence. And then they found, I think it was 20,000 texts between them, relationship texts.
And remember, folks, they're lying under oath. They swore, and they're lying to the judge. And they lied in their affidavits they signed. They came
what
up
do you
with
know about the judge? I heard that some people say he might be a little wishy-washy and he might be a Democrat.
I don't know. I haven't heard. Hopefully he does the right thing. It's a fair thing. And he knows the world's watching. He knows he has to get rid of these two because it's not fair. And most likely this case goes away.
Right.
That's the right thing. So that's what's going on there. I think keep an eye on. We'll keep on talking about this because this just gets better and better and better. You have to watch it, what's going on. And then, of course, you got to look at Joe Biden. Let's play the recording I sent you about walking Joe Biden.
Yeah, so walk like an Egyptian. We give attribution to the Bangles. You know,
Bengals,
they make parodies, and they with the AI, they can move their lips to make them look like they're saying something else. So you sent me something that's hysterical. It shows like it's called "Walk Like a Joe Biden," and it's a parody, and it's a takeoff of the "Walk Like an Egyptian." So it's really hysterical. I watched part of it, and I just sent it to a few people as well.
You can't see it.
I can't see it.
But we'll hear it though. We just hear it.
The American president is doomed. The little old man can barely move. If he moves too quick, he'll topple just like a domino. He's got that sinister smile and thinks he just might win the bet. But he's just hanging on, dangling like Hunt a cigarette. 100 times with the hookup life set. Walk like a Joe Biden.
Yes. Pretty funny stuff. Pretty funny stuff. You got. I definitely. I have it on my Facebook page. I think people are going to put it on yours too, Bill.
I'm going to put it on my Facebook page, but I'm going to put a link at the end of this video for when it goes out on social. This will also go out over Steelers Spotlight TV.
Yes.
But
walk like a Joe Biden. That is perfect segue to everything. Disastrous presidency. Probably the worst bill in U.S. history. Now, Jimmy Carter now looks like a superstar compared to this guy now. This guy, Jimmy Carter now looks like a superstar. Remember that? That's what we said.
My mother loved Jimmy Carter. My mother loved that guy. She had pictures of him all over the
house. Carter was awful. Everything. The economy was awful, and respect for the country. Remember, Reagan brought that term up. Make America great again. He had that, and that Trump also uses that term. But that was how bad it was in the 70s. And I mean, the gas prices, the lines. I was small. I remember all the awfulness.
Did way more after his presidency, like with Habitat for Humanity and all that stuff, and helping people. Like he did a lot with ministry.
That's good. That part's good. But he made up for a crappy presidency. I don't think this guy's going to have time to make up for anything because his dementia is going to kick him so bad. He'll be worse than Reagan was. Remember Reagan, the long goodbye with Nancy Reagan? This guy's already started. Reagan, remember at the end of his second term. This guy has had it all throughout his first term. It's been awful. And can he do another term, 4 more years at 86? He'll be hidden in the basement the whole time.
They offered him a chance to speak at the Super Bowl. There's 12 million people watching. He declined. And instead, he did some kind of show with like 12 viewers.
because he embarrasses himself. You know what happened? He wants to just eat ice cream. He just wants to lick ice cream all day, Bill. That's all he wants to do. He goes in there. He's happy with his ice cream cone. That's it.
There was a good thing about that ice cream situation. They had the Alzheimer's Association explain why so many assisted living and seniors love ice cream. And it has all the reasons why people they're going through dementia and all that. And seniors love ice cream. It has these pleasure sensors and it triggers memories and all that stuff. And it's very soothing, right? And so if you look at him, that's the only time he's smiling. He could be talking about people dying by Hamas over there in Palestine. And he's licking on ice cream. Could be kids drowning in a river trying to get in here because of his policies that are dying, or border patrol agents dying.
He doesn't realize how sad he looks. An old man licking on an ice cream cone right there while the world is burning up, and he's just there doing his thing, and he's going right back in the basement. They put him back in his car and send him right back in the basement because he has to go to bed. And last time he gets tired, he says, "No, he's tired. I got to go back to bed again." That's why he can't barely go up the stairs.
The world is burning down because of his, and he's at the beach or eating ice cream. Trump was saying, how many trips to a freaking beach does somebody need in one lifetime? Every time you see him, he's at the beach.
He's at the beach. He goes himself. He went to Lake Tahoe. He had a nice vacation, Lake Tahoe, which was also there. Hawaii, it's upside down, and yet he spends another week there, and then he goes out there to give his condolences, and he's falling asleep during the ceremony. You see that? Because he can't have the long trips. He can't go anywhere. He can't do anything. It's the president of the United States needs to be on his game. He needs to be someone clear-headed. He's not clear-headed. He has to go. Joe Biden,
even the Italians are now lampooning him on comedy shows.
I saw that.
Having him fall over and trip. Oh my God!
I think a big movement's coming here, Bill. We saw it started in Argentina, right? We talked a little bit Javier Milei, which really has they've had socialism there. I remember we had Che Guevara, you had Fidel Castro, and all that. You know, he's very Argentinian, Che Guevara, and he's a big socialist and all that. And then Argentinians embraced that garbage for so many years. They had huge inflation issues. They had high taxes, wasted money. Milei came in there, and right within the first 2 months, has just cut it, right? Eliminating all these wasteful programs, right?
Yeah.
High taxes, embracing the private sector. Javier Milei is the future of Argentina. He's going to change it around. And hopefully South America starts getting ideas. Forget the Nicolas Maduros who steal the country, Hugo Chavez's, Fidel Castro's, who have destroyed the region, and start embracing these conservative policies. Look at what they're in Canada, our neighbors up north, right there with Trudeau. What Pierre
Trudeau.
Poilievre, yeah.
Oh.
And he is going to be a big challenge from this year. I think he takes out Trudeau finally. Trudeau's gone.
Trudeau's
the
a
Canadians
disaster.
are fed up with it. They destroyed that carbon tax. Ridiculous. People are starving. People are homeless. Housing's out of control. Inflation's out of control. He has ruined that country. That's where a lot of Canadians have become Americans.
And
they're fed up with it.
Citizens there that these drug distribution,
Oh
needle
my gosh.
distribution places legalizing drugs in certain cities. If you look at those cities now, they're like zombie towns. People are wandering
Vancouver.
around staggered on the street.
I'm gonna send you a link, Bill, on Vancouver, zombie town, and it is horrific. When you legalize drugs like that, and you can't let the police arrest people, remove them from the situation, dead bodies laying out. I mean, it is awful, awful. It's a public health issue. Keep away from downtown Vancouver for sure.
Right, at least before, when it's illegal, people are kind of hiding out their house or apartment or rooming house, and they need help, but at least they're not in public view.
Now they're everywhere.
Right, just getting ready to get hit by a car or victimized or die on the street, and nobody even knows they're dead or sleeping. So.
Yeah, and Narcan. Everybody has their Narcan to try to revive people, bring them back or something. Who would have thought that everybody's been carrying the little Narcan kits, walking around to try to help some of these people, which is awful. That's a failure on every level, federal, state, and local. That doesn't work. What in mind do you people okay?
This is a message to addicts out there. What I've learned about Narcan from researching on addiction is that, say, for example, you have a Oxycontin or a fentanyl overdose. Okay, so you do the Narcan, right? Everybody's seen the videos when the person immediately snaps out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? That doesn't last. It has to continue to be applied.
You have to get them out of the system.
Until you metabolize the drug that you overdosed on, you will continue to fall out. It's got to be reapplied and reapplied and reapplied. My understanding. So
they need to get treatment for sure.
Yep. So you can't just use it, throw it down, and go about your business because that same overdose is in your system and hasn't been metabolized yet.
It's a sad situation, Mo. A lot of these liberal failed policies, they think that legalization of drugs is a good thing. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Look at people being destroyed. It's such a controlling addiction. They need help. They don't need more of it. They don't need to live like that. No one should live like that.
I always said it should be decriminalized, but not necessarily legalized. Certain amounts, but it still should not be like, do what you want in public either. You
can't do that. It's a public health. It's dangerous to everybody. Just look at these videos. I'll send you one on Vancouver, which a guy went in there. He had a camera because he said it was too dangerous. You should have a regular phone film. People freak out and try and grab you and everything like that covertly. And he went in there into the ugliest areas. He even went into areas where they had people living in like tunnels and stuff like that. It is awful.
They have areas like that right in the States. In Philadelphia, they have areas like that in San Francisco. They're just wandering around. They're staggered over at the waist. God knows what the hell they're on, and just staggering around like a bunch of zombies. It's horrible.
That's why people don't want to go to San Fran anymore, right? They don't want to go to Philadelphia anymore. They don't want to go to New York City anymore. They don't want to go to Chicago.
But they have Gavin Newsom, who's all coiffed like he's a model of some kind, but he's an idiot, and he's completely destroyed California. Yeah, all the business people are fleeing there. Now he wants to put a tax on people if you want to move out of California. Well, who the hell is he to tax people for wanting to flee the freedom?
They remember, they overregulation, over taxation. That way they control you better and moderate your wealth. They don't want you having a lot of wealth, man, because they can't control you that way. Remember that. They're here to keep everybody, Mao Zedong, right? Everybody gets your little rice bowl, and that's all you're going to get. Remember that.
Is that what he said?
Mao Zedong. That's what he remember. He said, how do you keep a billion people happy? He said, you can have the ultra rich. Bill, Mao Zedong didn't want ultra rich people. He wanted everybody to be the same and get the rice bowl. That's all you're going to get.
Somebody slipped me a note. So it says, it says, people wandering the streets spaced out on all these drugs and everything, right? And
Yes.
nothing's happening. It's all decriminalized or legalized, and they're not arresting anybody. And then she said, but don't get caught with a beer outside. You go to jail.
That's
An
that's
open
ridiculous.
container, but
That's
you
stupid.
can stick a heroin needle in your arm and you're fine.
No,
Oh,
you can snort cocaine. You can do anything else you want. And now everybody's and these zombies are everywhere. It is really, really dangerous, scary, bad policies. Trudeau will probably goodbye this year. Biden goodbye this year, and you see a big movement in other places here. Hopefully, Mexico also gets on board. And Lopez Obrador, he's leaving 1 term. You only get 1 term, 6 years, and you're done. He's gonna be done soon. And hopefully they get common sense and they put some moderate conservative somebody and realize that Mexico has also been destroyed. And you can't let the cartels run your country. The corruption is enormous, and that's why it goes full circle. Corruption in Mexico, corruption in these places, the drugs flow in, and the situation we have here.
mhm.
It all
Yeah,
goes together.
it's pretty bad. And Trump goes to the border. He's trying to do what he can to help. He had great policies in place. It was a remain in Mexico policy. So remain in Mexico. I think if I remember the negotiations correctly, he went down there and told them it's going to be 50% tariff, 50% tariff on everything you want to send to the United States if you don't stop this on your side and process them on your side.
You have
And
to.
guess what they did? They processed on theirs immigration, illegal
You know,
immigration, virtually
everybody
eliminated.
from Central America, if they're coming to Mexico, they stop them in Central America. They don't want them in Mexico either, right? Oh, but if you're coming to the United States, go ahead. I don't care.
And we're not being in any way inappropriate in what we're saying, but what country on planet Earth
You can't.
has a completely unchecked open border to let all their neighbors in? So as soon as
You
their
can't.
economy is bad, this other country will get flooded with a crime wave and with workers and collapse the next door's economy.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
can't do that.
what country on planet Earth allows that other than this one under Joe Biden?
Joe Biden's administration is failure. Failed
And
administrations.
they got the nerve to go public lately and blame Trump directly and his policies. And I'm like, none of this was happening when Trump was in
Has
office.
has Kamala Harris even been on the border yet? Like she's the border czar, like she was supposed to.
I think she went once and she cackled her way through it, and they clean up the sectors where they go to. They clean that up.
It's a
But
joke.
we all see the footage of the people floating in the river, and children caught up in a razor ribbon trying to get over. And
At least the Texas governor Abbott did a good thing there when and the Eagle Pass and at least wired up that area with barbed wiring to stop it. And Border Patrol weren't even allowed there. They said no, and guess what? They stopped the illegals coming in. I mean, yes, a couple people died. That was tragic. They couldn't save them. But you know what? At the end, you have to think they have to come. If they come here illegally, that's not a good thing. There's a system
I've
in
seen
place.
portions
You're
of
right.
the portions have that fence with the long brown slats, right? I've seen ones where they're taking these sawzalls and cutting those, and then they're taking a truck and pulling gigantic pieces out, and mobs of people just walking through
Keep
all
on
day
going.
long.
I
They're
like the
taking
ones
down.
with the barbed wires, the circular,
Yeah.
and they put it all over Eagle Pass, and they're not crossing.
Oh, that stuff's treacherous. I know when I was in prison one day, a guy he had like a life
They mess
sentence
you
or
up.
something. He lost his appeal, and on the same day, he was taken to the chaplain's office and told his mother passed away. So this guy was miserable, walked out of the chaplain's office and suicide by police. And
Oh,
I'm just reporting what happened. When we obviously, if you need help, get counseling and all that. That's never the solution. Taking your own life. But for the
no.
YouTube algorithms, we're just reporting what's already out there. So he went miserable, 2 bits of bad news all on the same day. Gigantic sentence he's never going to get out of. And he ran from the chaplain's office and hit the fence and started climbing it, knowing what would happen. So he gets hung up in the coils of razor ribbon, which are like
Oh,
razor
yeah, that's
blades.
brutal.
So
Yeah.
he's stuck there. He's bleeding out. And the officers, when you try to escape, they're allowed to kill you. So they open fire with the AR-15 and kill him. And his body was hanging in the razor ribbon. So this is what that razor ribbon does to people. It
It's bad.
literally
They're not going
cuts
to try.
so bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad and so deep, especially the one with the long pointy ones. The ones
Yeah.
I think on the border with like the razor blade ones, they're shorter. They don't make as deep cuts, but they'll make cuts.
Yeah.
But the ones in prison are long like this. They're long.
Makes you think twice, right, Bill?
If you touch the tip of one, it would draw blood. And they're stainless steel, so they never go dull. And they're just out there in the elements. And try to go over one if you want to. You're gonna. It's not gonna
regret. Yeah, it's not good. Not a good decision there. So that's the situation with the border. That's the situation there. We have the bump stocks, Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade. I think their time is going to be going away shortly. The judge, remember, the world's watching. The judge knows, and I bet he is, especially in the state level, he's an elected official with these state judges every so often. So he wants to probably stay where he's at. He knows, especially in a red state like that, that'll be a big problem for him not to do the right thing. And the evidence is strong. Evidence is strong.
Yeah. So real quick before we wrap this one up a little bit earlier, because we need to put a few other things in here for Steal the Spotlight. Now in New York, I think it's an appeal court rule. Trump still has X amount of time to pay $400 something million penalty by this
almost $500 million, Bill.
Yeah, allegedly corrupt
$500
judge.
million.
But they were told him that they're going to start seizing his properties, and he can't use them for collateral to get a loan to pay the fine. Some appeal court stepped in, and I think the ruling was something along the lines of, no, you can't start seizing his property, and yes, he can get loans from bank to pay this fine for the time being.
Okay,
so there was a favorable ruling for him. I think it still stood though while he's under appeal, but somehow it's set up. This judge who heard the case, he's a diehard Democrat, and
it's tough. It's tough when you got when it's political like that.
Yeah. Unbelievable. The corruption is unbelievable. The prosecutor up there, and I think the attorney general up there, in my opinion, need to be in prison as well, because it's clearly politically biased prosecution.
And don't forget, he still owes like $85 million to E. Jean Carroll too for defamation and slander too. That's another big one too.
I don't have a lot of commentary on that case, but I know on these other ones where a property worth in excess of $1 billion, the judge says, "Oh, it's only worth 18 million." Mar-a-Lago, really?
No.
Empty lots around Mar-a-Lago go for 120 million, 100 million.
No.
I've been to Mar-a-Lago, I don't know, about a year ago. Not in it, but at the driving past it and stuff. I was
Mar-a-Lago, yeah.
I went to go film at Epstein's mansion, only to find out it was torn down because, I wrote a book about how I knew Ghislaine Maxwell back in the day.
Sure. And we talked about it many times.
Yeah, this is the book there. So I went to get some footage of the house where I was at many times, before she became infamous, before all the stuff about her and Epstein were known. And so I went to go see it and, do some filming, see if the new owners might let me in, and only to find out it was torn down. I guess a developer got it, tore the house down. So my book about it, Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure, is written about that.
Good deal.
Anyway, Ignacio, we're going to wrap this thing up here. So again, prayers go out to the family of DaChe'na.
For sure.
And I know they just suffered another family loss, and we're so sad to hear that. It's I can't even imagine going through this, especially back to back. But life is can be very challenging and hard sometimes.
Like I said, well, it's not an easy job. Yep. Being a law enforcement is not an easy job. You got a split second to make a life and death decision with limited information you have, and you're paid to protect yourself and third parties, and you're trained to do that. And that's a decision you have to make. He thought there was imminent danger with the vehicle for the public. He took action, and the district attorney's office agreed with that.
Right.
I mean, obviously, the family can have a civil lawsuit and it's maybe determine, if not criminal, maybe civilly. That'd be another option, perhaps. Maybe it's something they will look into it. I don't know.
Yep. So again, anybody related to the case on both sides, you're more than welcome to come on here. The main thing is healing. We can never bring anybody back, but better understanding of what happened. I think if there's more footage that needs to be released, I think just for further healing, it should be released. We don't know for a fact that it exists. We did hear that it does.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, real quick. Also, Bill, don't forget about Broken Crowns, the screenplay that I worked to get a TV pilot done. I also have the clothing line. Folks, if you want to look at undercoverinc.printify.me, all kinds of merchandise from shoes to clothing to mugs to posters. I'm going to have a huge poster behind me next time you see me with Broken Crowns. My shout out to my sister-in-law for coming up with the design. Creative Pulp with a K.
I better get an autographed copy of it, Ignacio.
Yeah, man, we'll send you guys something. I hope you guys like it. We'll put it back there and everything else. Broken Crowns. It'd be a cool TV pilot series based on my life ATF Undercover, taking down one of the most violent street gangs, which I did a 2.5 year investigation from top to bottom up there in Pasco, which is north of Tampa. Really good case I worked out there. The Valentine Bloods. This is based on that, and we'll call it Broken Crowns. And of course, you take creative licensing. And I've been using Final Draft, which is a great software to write screenplays. So if you're looking to write screenplays, It's a great way to get started. It helps you with the formatting, which is so difficult. It's almost impossible without it. It makes it a lot easier. So check it out. In Broken Crowns and Undercover Ink and Printify.
And again, his autobiography, ATF Undercover, the link's in the description. If you like true crime, crime prevention, victim advocacy, these are the books for you.
Yeah. And you can find a lot of my books also now on Audible too.
All right. So we're going to sign off here. And everybody, thank you for joining Steal a Spotlight. This is all under the umbrella of Steal Media. And this will be airing on Steal a Spotlight television.
All right.
If you'd like to become an underwriter or a sponsor, look me up. We can hook you up. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.